Yo, what's going on, guys? Right, so what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be creating a cool vector poster in Adobe Illustrator. So what I've done is I've started off by bringing in, by making sure that you can see the rulers. I've got an A4 document, and I've dragged in a guide which is in the center of our page. So let's add our background in. Our background is going to be a nice gradient, so it's going to use the rectangle tool. And we're going to create our background. So right now there isn't a fill or a stroke. We're going to apply gradient, and in our gradient edit options we're going to change our gradient to 90 degrees, and we're going to select our color. So if we bring up our swatches palette, which is hit Windows, swatches. Now I've got our swatches, and we're going to choose a color. So depending on the time of day, we could select the color that we want to go with. I'm going to go with this nice purple, so it's going to fade from this solid purple to white. So we've got our gradient in here. We're then going to go to our pen tool. We're going to create a new layer just by clicking on that there. Double click there. Let's lock that background layer, and now we're just going to create a randomized path, which is going to be act as our mountain. The peak will then hit the center of that. Let's get rid of that one. Let's get rid of that one. Let's get rid of that one. I'm going to continue around. I'm going to complete that all the way back to the beginning. Cool, this time we're going to have a solid fill on our mountain. We're going to select our color. And we could stick to the same color palette, which is a purple. We just go with like a very dark desaturated purple. So we're going to do that, so it's kind of like the shadow of the mountain. Nice. We're going to create a swatch. So with the color that we've just created, we're going to create a swatch by clicking on the little plus on our swatches palette. You can rename it, so it gives you the CMYK value by default, but I'm going to rename that mountain. Yeah, okay, you can see our little swatches appeared there. So we've got our mountain swatch and it's got the name. So that is all good. So let's lock that layer and create a new layer. Now over the top of this, we're going to create some more paths, which are going to be just cut into the mountain. So this is just random paths, and then made a completed shape. We're then going to apply a swatch. We're going to decide on we want to reverse this, what we've got here in essence. So we could even use our gradient tool. We're going to want the white at the top. Let's relocate our gradient. So we're going to put the white at the top, the purple on the bottom. It's just going to let us rotate. There we go. So we're going to go at the angle that we want it. We're going to want the white at the top, and then rather than it being the purple that is going to, let's grab our swatch, which is our mountain swatch, and we're going to drop that onto what we have, and that should give us a nice effect. See, so it's like it's kind of fading into nothingness. We're going to complete this again on some other parts of the mountain. Looking up towards the peak, and on the peak let's have we're going to reverse these sections here because we want that to be, we want the white at the edges. Go to our gradient tool, we're just going to select that. There we go. So you see I'm just selecting each individual gradient using my selection tool and then using the actual gradient tool itself just to decide on where the gradient is going to fill from and to. Just going to nudge that with the keys just to cover, so that it's covering the bits of the mountain that I want it to. The gradient tool. You could do is you could select it, select the elements that you want to change, go to anchor point tool, select it, and then just use your keys to nudge it into place. And just make sure that it sits as you'd want it to. Good. There we go. Once you're happy with it, then that is all good. Let's add another element to it. Let's add a moon over the top of it. So we're just going to hold down this. I've selected my ellipse tool. I'm going to change the fill to white. Just off at the side here, I'm going to hold down the shift key, draw a circle, solid fill. I'm going to draw another circle just over it, give us a nice crescent moon. Select both. Let's go to our pathfinder. So if it isn't visible, which it is right here, then you just go up to window, go down to pathfinder, select that, go to divide, direct selection tool, right arrow, and just get rid of those bits that we don't want. So we're left with our path. Let's make that smaller. What we could even do is we can duplicate that, control C and V. You could go to effect, blur, Gaussian blur. You can increase the blur of that, the blur radius. Hit OK. There we go. So we are happy with that. Select both of them, group them together, so when we move them, then they'll move together. We could choose where we want that to go. We can might have it set off to the side or just perfectly centered. Could have some text. Nope. Adjust that design there. What character? Change the font. center that. Let's change the color. We can sample color from Alright, so it's a pretty cool tutorial. I did see that one online. Thought I'd just show it. It's pretty good, pretty cool, very simple. Nice use of tools in Illustrator, and yeah, you know, you can create a very clean design. Let's hide them guides. Yeah, just really simple, really easy, and really effective.